Welcome to the Blue Collar Baddies podcast. This is episode number 22. This episode is sponsored by Outlaw Spray Foam, providing high-quality insulation services for the greater Oklahoma area for the past 8 years. Today we're here with Asia, and tell me what trade you're in.
I am in electrical.
Okay.
I'm an electrician, commercial electrician.
How'd you get started?
How to get started into the trade?
Yeah.
Honestly, out of spite.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me I can't and I'm going to.
So, before I got into the trades, I actually worked at a feed store, and my team lead, we were friends at one point before he became the team lead.
Yeah.
And he always expressed he wanted to be an electrician. Well, when he became the team lead, the power went to his head, and we had a big falling out. So on my last day, I was like, you know what? You can have this gig. I'm going to go live your dream.
Dang.
And I didn't give it a second thought. I didn't plan it. I didn't look at any other trades. I didn't think about, maybe getting shocked one day. I was just like, You want to be an electrician? I'm going to go do that. And that's how I got into it.
That's funny. So tell me about the process from that decision to where you are now.
I had nowhere to start. I had no idea how to start. I just immediately started, how to become an electrician in Texas. And I found... I came from non-union. I'm in the union now.
Yeah.
I found the IC essentially, and I called them and I was like, "How do I start your classes?" And they're like, "You can't start until you go to till you get hired by a contractor." But they actually pointed me in the direction of a pre-apprenticeship program.
Nice.
And I thought that was a good idea. One, being a girl, and two, knowing absolutely nothing. I was like, at least I can go into the actual field knowing something. So I did a pre-apprenticeship program that was like a month long, and they went over just like the basics of electrical, and then immediately got hired on into a contractor that was working with the non-union thing, and that's how I got started.
Cool.
Over there.
Nice. So they paid for your they paid you to learn how to do it.
The pre-apprenticeship?
Yeah.
No, the pre-apprenticeship was free.
Oh, okay.
It's something, so I'm from Austin. They offer it out of Austin. They got a couple other locations, and it's free. They have other trades that they teach there too.
Nice.
I definitely recommend that program. It's free.
That's
You
cool.
go. You just take time to really dig into the surface of what you're about to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if you were to explore a different trade, like starting over from the beginning and digging into what you wanted to do, what do you think it would have been?
So, out of all the trades, because I work in commercial, so I'm on big job sites and I see other trades. The only other trade that seems to entice me a lot is welding.
Yeah.
Not necessarily welding, I'd say ironworking, because believe it or not, when I started the trade, I was afraid of heights. And my first day, I spent 30 minutes on a 10-foot ladder just shaking, waiting to get down.
Dang.
Fast forward a year later, I'm in a boom lift, 40 feet in the air, just living life on my birthday. This is great. So I see the ironworkers all the time, and I just think it's super badass. And I'm when I get done with the electrical, I want to check that out. Maybe get into welding on the beams or something like that. That'd be cool. That's something that entices me.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
If you were to give advice to a girl coming out of high school that wants to end up where you are, what would you tell her?
To go for it.
Yeah.
Dig your heels in and go for it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's some days I'm like, why did I do this? And I've come to this problem a lot. It's not necessarily the work of the trade that's hard. It's just the industry.
Right.
The industry itself is so discouraging sometimes. I get through valleys sometimes, and I'm like, it's not that I'm tired of electrical work. I'm just tired of the BS.
Yeah.
And it's like the weather, here in Texas, it's hot one day, super cold the next day. And,
right.
I can deal with that to an extent, I have to, but sometimes it's just the environment, not bashing guys, but the guys just being around, BS all the time.
Yeah.
But it's so rewarding, because I started my electrical journey 3 years ago, and I started documenting it for myself, and it's so awesome to see how far that I've come, and then also see it apply in the trade as well. I'm starting to teach first years on how to do stuff, and
nice.
They're like, how do you know all this? And you just got to keep going. You really got to dig your heels in and just go for it. And it's when they say blood, sweat, and tears, it really is blood, sweat, and tears all the way. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the Porta-John just pissed off. I just sat in there for 10 minutes and just thought about giving up. But I get back out there and now here I'm doing stuff like this with you, and this is super cool. Yeah. So my advice to her would just to put your whole heart into it. You know, it's a dream, and chase it for sure. Cool.
I like that. I mean, have you had a lot of issues with, you know, just working strictly with men, pretty much, I guess?
So I've met some really great guys.
Yeah.
I've met some guys that I'd consider brothers for sure, you know, and guys that are just like buds for life. But I've had my fair share of just like jealous men.
Yeah.
In my first year, I learned pretty quick, and I was doing pretty good. Within 6 months of my first year, I was nominated Employee of the Month for my first company statewide. So it was out of like hundreds of people.
That's awesome.
And they send out your picture, and they send it to everybody's mailbox, and you really get like posted on everything for the company.
Yeah.
And I thought it was such a great thing, you know, especially like being a girl, and just, you know, 6 months, like a year before that, I had no idea I was going to do this.
Right.
And little did I know, like, that was like the worst possible thing that could ever happen to me.
Yikes.
Everybody has my picture, everybody knows my name.
Right.
And I think, like, the biggest problem with that was, like, if I was a guy, no one would question it.
Right.
All right, cool. But I was a girl, and there's just no possible way that I could be doing that good. I had to be sleeping my way to the top.
Oh, gosh.
And like, so the rumors and speculations got really bad,
mm-hmm.
and it started involving like just be honest, you know, be raw and cut. Like, people were messaging my foreman's wife anonymously.
Oh my gosh.
Saying that. And it was horrible. It was awful. Like, I broke down in tears. I talked to him about it, and I was like, look, you know, and he was just giving me opportunity.
Right.
You know, he was a good foreman. I'll never forget my first foreman. He was a good foreman, giving me opportunity. And honestly, if it wasn't for his opportunity, I don't know if I'd be as far as I am today. And I'm able to now, in turn, teach that to younger apprentices.
Right.
But I had asked for a job transfer.
Dang.
And it was so bad, and I was like, is this it? Is this what it's like being in a male dominant industry? Like,
right.
You know, God forbid I do good at this, you
yeah.
know, but like, I mean, like I said, I mean, you have your rotten apples. I still deal with it. I just deal it right back to them, or I just keep it pushing. But I've also met some really good guys that I could, you know, call on for anything, and I know that they'd be there for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about, do you work with any women on job sites?
So this is my biggest job site I'm on now currently. It's got the most women I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I do try to go out of my way to go talk to them and be
right.
like, hey, you know, it's badass that you're out here, you know. But in specific, the last job I was on, I worked with this girl, and when we first met, like, we did not like each other at all. It was super cutthroat, and we were both snappy with each other, and finally one day I talked to my husband about it, and I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm a woman of God, and so I was like, let me just talk to her. So I pulled her into the office with our foreman, which was also a woman.
Nice.
And so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, we're both out here. I said, I get that we're probably both on edge because we're the minority and we're always in survival mode, but I think it's badass what you're doing, and I think it's badass what I'm doing. So like,
let's be friends.
Like, I'm sorry for like being like a B word to you, you know.
Right.
And ever since then, she's my best friend.
Nice.
We're best friends,
That's
so
awesome.
it's cool. Yeah.
Sometimes the best friendships start that way.
yeah.
That's crazy. Tell me about your biggest struggle so far.
In what way? What do you mean?
I mean, like, not only being the woman on site, but just your job in general, what you've struggled with the most. Or have we already kind of talked about it?
I mean, I'd say the biggest thing that I struggle with the most is like being the woman on site.
Yeah.
The rumors and the speculation's bad,
Right.
but sometimes it's uncomfortable. Like, I've been on job sites where stuff is written about me in the porta-johns. Like, I've been on a job site like where I was leaning over a guardrail, and I just so happened to look down, and I was the only girl on that job site, and my name was etched into the steel.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like it's sometimes it's just like, I just want to come here to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's creepy.
And so and then I face, you know, like, well, you want to be seen as equal, and it's like, it's not necessarily I want to be seen as equal. I just want to be seen.
Right.
Period. Like, I don't want any special treatment, but I want to be seen. We're not the same. You're a man, and I'm a girl. You have different strengths. I have different strengths, you know. Yeah. And it's the same way you would bend this pipe is not the same way I would bend it, because I got to work differently. I think just being a girl on a job site, is hard, and I think one of the hardest things that I've always struggled with is, I don't know if it's the same for every girl, I feel like it is. I've talked to my girlfriends like that, but is you're constantly being watched all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I first started, it got on my nerves a lot, but now I just kind of just keep going. But it's hard because you're going to have bad days. You're going to have bad days when you're off, or you're going to have where you had a bad night before and you're coming into work. So it's like you have a magnifying glass on you. And it's like, when you have a bad day, it's like amplified and it's put in front row center, you know. And like, oh, she's a girl, she couldn't make it. See why what is she doing here? You know, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I hate the most is I can't do anything without being watched.
Right.
But I just try to use it to my advantage and take pride in my work and just do the best that I can do with that.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Do you have to work out outside of work, or is the job the workout?
I used to. I used to work out. I did it. I tried like a good 6 months. I would work all day, be dog tired, go to the gym, take some pre-workout, kill myself at the gym, and then just be tired. I did that for a good like 6 months, and then I'm like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
In the slow seasons, like winter and stuff, I do gain a little weight, you know, it's the holiday season, but in the summer, especially here in Texas, and that's when usually all the overtime hits, I mean, the job itself is a workout.
Yeah, for sure.
So, at the end of the day, I'm just ready to go home.
Right, yeah. Plus the extra time it takes, like, you're already working long hours, I'm sure. I spray foam, so in the winter, we are less busy, and I can feel it, but, you know, the first couple weeks we get back into it, I'm struggling, and then after that, I'm back.
yeah, for sure.
What is your absolute favorite tool?
My bandsaw.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I can't live without it.
Nice.
I spent my entire first year, I had the basic necessities, but I kind of just was taking mental notes of what other people were using the most and what I use the most. So I work with a lot of conduit, like EMT, and I mean, just constantly cutting. And I don't think I could ever live without my bandsaw.
Nice.
It's a power tool, it's bad, but I need it. It's so convenient all the time.
Right. What's the best part about your job? Like your favorite thing about your job?
I say bending pipe.
Yeah.
But it's hard because it's like I earned that.
Yeah.
I earned that. I mean, I picked up on everything else pretty easily, like, you know, pulling wire, in-wall roughing, everything like that, lighting control. But bending pipe, I remember my foreman on one job put me on bending pipe, and I was so mad. I was like, I can't do this. It looks horrible. Take me off of this. And he was like, you know, my name's Asia, so my nickname's China. He was like, well, damn, China, you're never going to learn if I take you off of it. Get back out there. And I remember I looked him in his eye, and I said, you need to do better. And I walked out of the job trailer, and I was pissed. And now, like, I love it. Like, I'm so good at it. And sometimes, you know, being electrical, I feel like we're the trade that always has to move or maneuver around everything else because ducts are big and plumbing is specific. So sometimes you got to throw, like, crazy bins in there, and then you have the code that meets requirements. And so for me, like, my favorite thing is just really... It's creativity. It's art, for sure. You look at, like, an empty ceiling. How am I going to get to point A to point B and go through everything? And then when you're finished and you step back and you look at it and you see how, like, awesome it looks and it's up to code.
Nice.
It's so rewarding.
That's
it's rewarding.
Cool.
And the biggest thing is when I go into, like, a Walmart or anywhere that has, like, an exposed ceiling, I immediately look up. I could be, like, 50 feet from the ceiling and be like, that is crooked, you know? And so I want, when people see my stuff, if it is exposed, to be like... Whoever ran that did such a good job. So that is definitely, like, my bread and butter is bending pipe now that I finally got it down. Thanks to my foreman for not taking me off of that. I was pissed, but I got it down for sure.
That's funny. You needed it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have any, like, hair or skincare tips? I know a lot of girls struggle with the dirt and the breakouts and the...
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna just be honest. Like, Monday through Friday, like, my hair is crunchy AF. Like, I just throw it in bandana and I go. I mean, I was excited for the podcast because, like, it was an excuse to, like, get dressed up and stuff. I just wash my face with soap. I mean, you spend so much time on a job site. It's just, like...
Yeah.
I mean, I praise to the girls that do because I can't. Like, I don't even know. Like...
Right.
I mean, I'm not as bad as my husband, who was like a 15-in-1 soap for everything. But, you know, I'm just like, wash my face with soap, and then be done with it. And then if I have an excuse to get all dressed up, then it's like, okay, now I'll start using product.
Yeah. That's cool. I have to wear a respirator a lot, so, like, my forehead and my chin gets breakouts. Like, bro, I'm 35. This shouldn't still be happening. Like, go
right,
away.
right. I think the biggest thing is the sweatband on your hard hat. Mm-hmm. I wear a bandana all the time.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how people don't not wear anything on their forehead, especially it's not bad in the holiday season or like the slow season, but in the summer, oh yeah, it's breakout city.
Yeah,
it's just part of it. You just gotta live with it. Or my biggest thing is like most of the jobs now are all gloves 100% of the time.
Oh,
so like you just don't even realize it, and I'm just touching my face all the time after I've touched all this metal shavings and everything. So I usually break out a lot from that, but I just chalk it up as part of it.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about PPE. Do you have trouble finding things that fit well, or like anything that you struggle to find that's not really made for women?
Well, PPE wise, I'm always a small everything.
Yeah.
And since I've gone into the union, they're pretty good about having it. But I mean, every job you go through a job orientation, or every company you go to, you know, and it's always like we have to go get the smalls, you know. The vests I feel like are annoying.
Yeah.
Because I want a small vest, and not because I want it to just look so cute on me, but you know, I constantly have to wear a harness being in a lift, and so it gets in the way all the time. I feel like the vest, but I mean, vests are company things, so you gotta wear it. But I mean, as far as like women clothes for work, horrible selection. There's like nothing. And then if you do find something that's like women made for trades, it's like super expensive. Yeah. You can go on Amazon and look up women's workwear, and it's gonna bring you like blouses and slacks. You know, pantsuits. The worst thing I have trouble finding are pants.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're in the trades, you're gonna run through your clothes super fast anyway. But I mean, my pants tear on the inside of my thigh after a while, so that I just stopped buying women's pants. I just go to Walmart, and I go to the men's section, and I just buy the men's pants, the breathable pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard.
For sure. What about boots? You have to wear like steel toe.
So you're supposed to wear steel toe or composite toe. I always fought the steel toe thing being an electrician because steel is a conductor. Right. I tried a couple when I first started. I tried like the lace ups. They always got untied. They were really annoying. I tried. I saw women influencers, and I tried to wear their boots, and I didn't like them. So I just go with the regular cowboy boot pull-ups, you know. And honestly, you run through them so fast at this point. Like, so for Texas, I don't know if Oklahoma's the same. I know we're pretty close, but the rainy season kills my boots. I can go like a good almost year with it, but then you get like that month or two of just straight rain, and it just ruins my boots every time. So I don't ever try to go out of my way to spend a lot of money on nice boots, because I know by the rainy season they're shot. Right.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are like, I have a pair of Zenas that are women owned, composite toe, lace up, and they're super nice and comfortable. But they're so cute, I try not to get them dirty.
Yeah, mine are pink camo. I don't even care. Yeah, and I tuck my pants into them so everybody can see like the shaft with the pink camo. Yeah, I'm out here repping.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything you feel like you're missing out on by not having a typical, I guess, ladies' job?
I love my job. Yeah. I love what I do. I think it's awesome. I love not doing the same thing every day, and so like I'm not a people-y person, so I like to work by myself. I can do team effort if I have to, but I don't usually want to. I'm definitely the kind of person that's like, if I'm starting something and somebody else comes along and starts working on it, I'd be like, all right, what do you want to do? Because like, I don't want to finish it now, you know. Right. But I love being in the trades because I can do what I want, and it's my idea. Especially now that I understand what I'm doing, rather than I'm still learning. You always learn, but you know, like I can do stuff by myself. Yeah. But I'm not gonna lie, like I'm a super girly girl. Yeah. I miss sometimes, especially in the slow seasons when you're not doing a lot. Or in the summer, too, I guess, when you just come home and it's just like eat, sleep, go to work, and you're just crunchy all the time. I miss dressing up. Yeah. I miss having nails. I miss wearing makeup. I'm constantly wearing work clothes. I mean, they're not the most comfortable either. Right. Back to the work boot thing. Like, it's important to find comfortable work boots. I'd say my pull-up, my just regular cowboy boots are comfortable, but I mean, I don't always want to wear those. Or like those long socks you wear when you wear boots. You know, I miss just sometimes being a girl. Yeah. Like just wearing girly clothes. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of fashionable with my work outfits, you know. Nice. I have my signature, you know, bandanas and stuff, and it looks good, but, you know, there's also hate from that. Like, you know, you try to wear comfortable, cute work clothes, and then you're, like, out here...
Looking for attention.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, you can't win for nothing.
Right.
But I miss being a girl sometimes. Not necessarily you're not a girl out here, but I just miss being able to, like, wear nails and stuff. Yeah. Be more feminine. Because, like you said, you know, sometimes the only time that you do get dressed up is when you go on a podcast.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Sometimes I get dressed up on a random Saturday just to be at home and do nothing.
Right.
Just makes me feel better.
Right, yeah.
Any embarrassing job site stories you want to share?
As a girl, for sure, there's always embarrassing job site stories as a girl.
Right.
So, we're women, so we all have that time, and I think that's where a lot of these stories will come from.
That's where mine are.
We try our best to manage it and know when it comes, but sometimes we just don't. We never can be exact. It's Mother Nature. She's going to pick when she wants to come, you know. Yep. I remember being a first year, and we were pulling feeders in, and feeders are like the big wires that go into the panel, so you're exerting a lot of force, you know. And I was wearing khaki pants.
Oh, no.
Khaki pants that day, and I think my genetics for the awful flow I have. But I actually had my foreman like tell me that it was bad, and it looked like just a murder scene. And it was summertime, so I didn't have a jacket, I didn't have nothing, and I was like an hour away from my house, and I was one of the only females on the job site, and I'm in like the electrical room, which is like in a more secluded area in the building, but to go out, I would have to walk past everybody, and I was just mortified. Like, I didn't know what to do, and I was already embarrassed that my foreman had told me, but I was grateful that he did. Right. But I was like, I can't walk out. I have to wait till everybody leaves and they close the job site to leave. Like, what am I gonna do? Thankfully, he had a sweater in his truck. Nice. And he let me borrow it, and I had tied it around my waist, finished the day, finished pulling, and of course I washed it and gave it back to him. But like, that was probably one of the most embarrassing things. And I'm more careful about it. You don't really realize how that can sneak up on you when you're in the trades, especially being a girl, but I'm more careful about it and have backup stuff. That girl I worked with, she told me that she keeps like a go bag ready to go for that kind of thing. But I do feel like that's one of the hardest things to deal with, because we get porta-johns dealing with that kind of thing. It's awful.
Sometimes our job sites don't even have those.
And I've heard that, and that's just insane to me. Like, I will leave. I'll go to another job. Like, no. Yeah.
Well, so I work for my boyfriend, and he sometimes is like, well, why didn't you just unhook the truck from the trailer and go, you know, to the gas station or something? And I was like, well, that's like forever away. It's going to waste a whole bunch of time, and I just need, like, a solution to deal with it on the job.
Right.
So when you were little, what did you think you were going to be?
I had no idea.
Yeah?
I had no idea. I was talking to my husband about this last night. I was like, everybody knew what they wanted to be, and I didn't. I just didn't know at all. And I was always good at stuff, but I was never the best, you know? I could do everything, but like, despite the fact I became an electrician out of spite, when I really started doing electrical work, it was like I felt like I was made for it, you know? Nice. So, like, I mean, nothing ever made sense. I was horrible at math growing up. It just didn't ever click to me that this would be something I'd do. And I got into it, and within, like, months, like I said, like, it just clicked. It was amazing. And, I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I had no idea it would be this. I knew I was always rough and tough around the edges. I mean, I played the tuba in like school, so I played the biggest instrument. I've always been the girl that wants to take on challenges, but you know, nothing has ever made sense to me like electrical does. I never felt like I belong in something more than I do now.
That's awesome.
And you know, like I said, I've always been good at stuff, but never the best. But in electrical, I feel like I have potential to be one of the best on any crew that I'm on and any site that I'm on. I always feel like I'm an asset for sure.
That's badass. So, I mean, it sounds like you're truly obsessed with your job.
I love it. Yeah. I could not see myself doing anything else. And especially, cool. Like, if I stopped and I went and did something else and I saw electricians working on something, I feel like I'd be devastated.
Right.
I'd be like, wow, like, that's my dream, you know? Yeah.
That's cool. So, any like big future goals in your trade? Plans?
So, I document for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I do set goals every year about what I want to get into. So this is my third year, and I want to get into panels and the more advanced apprentice stuff before you take your state exam to be a journeyman.
Yeah.
So that's like more short-term goal stuff, what I want to do and get ready to take the state exam. But I guess because electrical has so many career routes, and it's not that I don't ever want to take off the tools, because I know eventually we have to, and I'm a mom, and, our bodies aren't, robots.
Yeah.
But I've turned down a couple office positions for, like, project management and stuff. When I started the trade, I thought that's what I wanted to do, and then I just fell in love with being in the field.
Yeah.
And being in the field are your glory days, talking to some of the girls out there talking about work that's messed up, or like that's what you live for,
Right.
So I think what I want to do is be electrical superintendent, and so I've been working my way to the top. I'm still an apprentice. Still, you have to make your way to journeyman, then foreman, and then superintendent. But I think I'm over the hill, because you start at the bottom, as your first and second year, and then you get to the climax of the hill, and then you're down, and then you go. So I think that's what my big goal is to make my way to electrical superintendent. Still be on job sites, get to chill out in the office trailer sometimes, but also still be on the job sites for sure.
That's cool. So electricians are kind of notorious for like having beef with everyone else on the job site. Have you run into any other trades that are ugly to you?
So it's hard because I see it within my crews. I see it within job sites. I see people that are in my crew be crappy to other trades.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you asked for that. Like,
Right.
You're just getting what you deserve, and it's in turn screwing all of us.
Yeah.
I personally, I befriend everybody. Not necessarily befriend everybody, but like, if another trade comes up to me and asks to use my ladder, yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Like what, or hey, I'm super like, we're both here trying to build the same building. What can I do for you?
Yeah.
Like if somebody else comes up to me and asks me to move something or whatever, or, I definitely do it. And it definitely has paid off in the long run. Especially, like I feel like drywallers and framers, because, we got to go in the wall and stuff. I've always made good relations with the other trades, and I've asked for favors too, like, hey, can you cover this up? I had to cut into this or whatever, and it's been no issue. But in turn, I've also like been on crews where my foreman was really young and really immature, and he was like, if you see another trade on our ladders, just immediately like take the ladder from them. And I'm like, well, why? Like if we're not using it, what's the problem? And I get it. I get the politics of it. Like the company pays for us to use ladders, not them. But you're gonna need a favor later on. That's just how it goes. No job site ever goes to plan, ever, and everything always gets moved around. And electrical, like I said, is the one of the trades I feel like that moves around the most, that we can move around the most. And so, I see it all the time. I don't know why. And it's a lot of, I just don't, I get it. I get the stigma behind it, and they like to make, derogatory jokes about electricians being more feminine, and I think it's very ironic. But, I mean, they do. Sometimes I hate my own trade the most. I've had a lot more problems within my own trade than I do with other trades. Yeah. And it's just like,
ridiculous.
Bro, let it go.
Yeah. The only problem we've ever really had with electricians is like if they leave their mess around, and then, I'm sometimes walking on stilts or, in the lift, and we're running over stuff that.
Yeah.
But, I mean.
Yeah.
No, like, personal problems with any of them.
I do my best to, I always clean up, I always do the stigma, but I've seen, I mean, it goes in any trade, you have your rotten apples and stuff like that, but I definitely do what I can as far as being an electrician and being a woman in the trades as well, so.
Nice. All right, and then you post on social media?
I do TikTok,
yes. So we'll list that in the description. Was there any other companies or anything you want to shout out in the description? No.
No.
It's fine. And then anything else you want to add?
I would say if I had any advice for anybody going into the trades, when men and women and you're just starting out, literally do not be afraid to ask questions. Like
nice.
That, I feel like that is where I've gotten. And you'll meet the old construction folk, you know, that will be like, you know, it's your job to be, it's my job to haze you, and that's not it, you know. You know, stand firm in what you do for sure, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because a closed mouth doesn't get fed. Find your nearest journeyman and pick his brains, you know. Nice. Just be annoying and show that you're passionate and driven about it. My husband, he's an apprentice in plumbing, and I constantly am asking him about his trade. Well, why do they do this? Well, I don't know. Well, why not? Why don't you ask?
Yeah.
Don't you want to know? You know, right. And so, you know, that's what I would say to anybody wanting to join the trades. We need more people in the trades, men and women alike, and I'm tired of living in the old times. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be as bad as it is sometimes, you know? Yeah. So, for sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. All the links and products we mentioned today will be listed in the description. If you're a woman in a blue-collar industry and you're interested in being the focus of the next episode, or you're a small business that would like to sponsor an episode, reach out to us in the link below.